We have an entirely different model. So my thing is, I believe in you. I believe in the people. You know, they say that 9 out of 10 companies fail. Why do they fail? We say there's 3 things: operational expertise, access to capital, and networking contacts. If you have those 3 in a resilient team, any company can become a unicorn.
이번 시간에는 제가 실리콘밸리에 왔습니다. 그래서 그 중에 첫 게스트로 제가 실리콘밸리의 찐 투자자를 만나게 됐습니다. 게리 팔러입니다. 반갑습니다. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Great
Nice
to be here.
예.
감사합니다.
자기소개 좀 부탁드리겠습니다.
Yeah, my name is Gary Fowler. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I built 17 companies and several unicorns. I have an operational family office, a venture studio, and our idea is to go around the world and look for the best companies and help them through AI, quantum companies to be able to become unicorns. And today we're in 73 countries around the world, and we love Korea.
보통 이 투자하시는 분들은 뉴욕 아니면 실리콘밸리 쪽 좋아하는 것 같은데 팜비치에서 사시는 이유가 있나요?
Well, because there's a different way to get to investors. So in Palm Beach, you look at it, a lot of the legacy family offices, families are located there. Pitsy goes there in the wintertime because they're into polo, dressage, and jumping. I happen to be neighbors with a lot of them. And so a number of them are my friends. They are the limited partners in virtually every venture fund. So call to the top. Why not go to the source? Remember, 99.3% of the money is held by 1% of the population.
되게 좋네. 팜비치, I know. 되게 따뜻한 나라잖아요. 그러면 투자했던 곳들이 주로 어디가 있었는지 좀 저희 알만한 곳들 좀 알 수 있을까요?
Well, I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion. And that company I'm very proud of. I was also the co-founder of a company called Findo, which became Eva, which was one of the first generative AI companies in 2016 that was sold to Vizir in Canada. And so, we believe that there's so much opportunity that's untapped in places like Korea because, there's a lot of people that are very shy, and the key is what we got to do. It's like having a Ferrari in the garage. We got to get it out.
그러면 이제 투자해서 이제 뭐 엑시트 또는 이제 가장 큰 수익을 냈던 그 투자 대상 하나 제일 큰 게 뭔지 좀 알고 싶거든요.
I can't say it yet because it's going to have an IPO in the near future, but I shouldn't say what it is, but just say you know who it is. So one of them that's made. I've had so many. I have 185 companies. So some of the companies that have come in, companies like I2Pure, the molecular isolation of iodine, companies like VoiceScript. Currently, I have Indigo Tech, which is inside of GST, which is a Series C company. So we have from early stage to Series C.
그러면 대충 밸류가 얼마일 때 투자를 시작해서 밸류가 얼마까지 키워서 나오는지 이걸 좀 듣고 싶었거든요.
We have an entirely different model. So my thing is, I believe in you. I believe in the people. They say that 9 out of 10 companies fail. Why do they fail? We say there's 3 things: operational expertise, access to capital, and networking contacts. If you have those 3 in a resilient team, any company can become a unicorn. Why? Because you can pivot to success. So I don't care what stage they are. I have from early stage to Series C. I have companies that graduates of Harvard, 2 Harvard MBAs, Stanford MBAs, MIT MBAs and PhDs. I don't care who they are. I only care about where they're going to go. And I've had Korean companies like AI for Pets is one of the companies. We want to see more Korean companies. Sometimes they're very modest. And what we got to do is we're really good in Silicon Valley at marketing. We got to make them enchanting, exciting.
이번에 그 회사 중에 그 GSD Ventures 스튜디오를 이제 만들었잖아요. 이게 어떤 회사인지 좀 듣고 싶거든요.
Yeah, so I created it because I said to myself, as an entrepreneur, as a serial entrepreneur, I didn't think the way people were investing in companies was right. And it's get stuff done is what GSD stands for. And the idea is to find those companies and help them. Work with them 15 weeks, Pick up the 7 companies and find the best companies in the world and help them. Help them with their messaging. Remember, 90% of building a unicorn is the storytelling. It's not the product. Make it so that the marketing is so much you can feel it in your soul. Because I don't want to be in the, if you went to a casino and somebody said to you, you got a 90% chance of losing your money, you would never go, right? So my thing is, why would you invest in startups if you know 9 or 10 are going to fail? Why not help them to achieve success? There's no family office that I know that we look at operational expertise, access to capital, networking, contacts. I've been doing this for 40 years in Silicon Valley. Imagine who I know. It's really important because of trust and credibility. So everything is tied together as one, right? We talk about making it look like something people would expect. Then going down through and talking to the folks that have the money, besides ourselves, right? We're creating great investments that are interested in investing in the hottest companies in the world.
그러면 이제 여기 단순히 투자뿐만 아니라 약간 이제 그 키워주는 것까지 도와주는 형태라고 좀 들어본 것 같은데, 그러면 보통 얼리 스테이지라고 아까 예전에 말했던 거 봤을 때 대충 언제부터 좀 투자가 들어가는지 궁금하거든요.
Not an accelerator. There's a difference. I don't care about the business model canvas or design thinking. I care about scaling. We scale companies. You know, you asked me why I live down in Palm Beach, but some of the wealthiest people in the world are my neighbors and they're my friends. They come to me and they say, what kind of companies are great investments? I can't give them something if I don't know from the inside it's right. It's true. So why not create the thing that they want? The most incredible companies in the world. My background's AI. I've been in AI 30 years from expert systems. I've seen it change, right? From very simplistic expert systems to now multi-agent, multimodal large language models. Everything changes. So present it the way they want it. Scale it. Not acceleration. Acceleration doesn't matter. I'm an operator. I build companies. I've done 17 from early stage all the way to an exit, an IPO, right? So create those companies that people want. The old model's flawed. It's a shotgun, not a laser beam. I can't have a lot of companies. I do up to 7 companies at a time, but we're taking a laser beam approach, not a shotgun approach to it, right? We're taking a laser beam. And that way I can spend time with them. I can work with them. I can understand them. I'm a psychologist too. Part of it is helping them mentally get through it to understand. One of my companies today that's in Indigo Tech today, his last company was sold to Samsung. That company became, Samsung Pay is his company, right? He sold it, he's done 5 companies, 4 exit, the last one, a big one, to Samsung. He ran Samsung Pay. So he brought his next company to me. Why? Because he needs help with marketing, business development, sales, and operationally understand how it works.
지금 그거 되게 동감을 느꼈던 거라면, 보통은 그냥 막 뿌린 다음에 하나 걸리면 이제 그걸 사례로 삼아서 이제 이렇게 얘기를 하는데, 그게 아니라 1년에 7개만 투자한다는 거는 적중률이 굉장히 높은 게임을 한다는 거잖아요. 그러면 그 좀 비결이 좀 있는지 좀 들어보시거든요.
Well, remember I said I'm an AI. And so I use the most sophisticated tools in the world to help me find those companies. I'm also a psychologist. I look at the psychology of the person. Are they the right fit for us? We look at everything that they have. And so we look at 1,000 at the top of the funnel. I talk to 100 and I pick up to 7. This time I only have 5. I don't care if I have 2. I don't care if I have 7. I just want the best of the best. And we also, inside of GSD, we also have one of the fastest growing AI PR marketing agencies. So I created that in a hybrid manner because on the front end, you need marketing. On the back end, I put about $4.5 million in building frontier AI software development. So I'm working on multi-agent, multimodal large language models. We want to create a 360-degree ecosystem because it's my money that does the investment. I want to make sure that I'm able to provide the right service to be able to create the best companies.
그럼 회사 자랑 한번 좀 듣고 싶은데, 그 최대 그 투자 몇 배 수익까지 내본 게 있는지 좀 듣고 싶거든요. 네.
It's about 70x, maybe a little bit more, because we're just finalizing the story. It may be a little bit more. It may be a lot more, actually. But let's conservatively say 70x.
대략 뭐 어떤 쪽이 AI 기업인지 뭐 아니면 어떤 류인지.
So it's a tech company involved in space and those kind of things.
아, 요새 지금 코리아 투자자들 우주에 지금 미쳐 있거든요.
I mean, think about it, right? Most people don't understand. There are 200 billion planets just in the Milky Way galaxy. There are 16 billion Earth-like planets just in the Milky Way galaxy. There are estimated to be 2.8 trillion galaxies in the universe. We are a medium-sized galaxy. So if you take 2.8 trillion times 200 billion, think about how many planets are out there and what is out there.
그러면 최근에 좀 투자를 집중하는 섹터가 어딘가요?
AI and quantum computers. Why? Because the problem is infobesity. We have too much data around us. Think about this. In your own personal world, you've got about 300,000 items. The entire web in 1996 was 257,000 websites. You have more information in your personal cloud, the entire web. The problem is your world is following the same trajectory as the web. It's doubling every year. In 5 years, you're going to have 10 million items. Think about this. How many times in the last 2 weeks have somebody said, I sent you a message, did you get it? Where did you send it? I sent it to your email. Which one? Will you send it again? I can't find it.
그러면은 지금 AI 사람들이 제가 많이 보는데 AI 섹터에 대해서 좀 어떻게 생각하는지 좀 궁금하거든요.
Health tech, obviously we all want to live longer. So that's door one. Last year, my basset hound, she got cancer. And I took my AI and I helped to build a cancer vaccine for my dog at a molecular level. My dog went into full remission of stage 4 kidney cancer. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a poor country boy that grew up on a farm in Pennsylvania. But if I can do that, imagine what you can do. You can do anything. But I'm interested in anything that's going to impact humanity. Education. We're going to run out of, there's only so many dead animals and plants we can burn. Oil. We need to have other kinds of fuels to be able to help us live. So anything that impacts us and anything that's got a lot of data. Legal tech, think about the legal, all they do is look at documents. We can use AI to be able to help. Our job is to create a system that's very efficient, that has empathy and compassion.
왜냐면 보통 AI 투자라고 하면은 우리는 이제 GPU, 그다음에 이제 데이터 센터, 뭐 이제 클라우드, 이제 뭐 에이전트 AI 이런 식으로 흐름이 흘러갔었는데 지금 말씀하신 거는 그 다음에 넥스트의 그 최종 목표, 골 얘기하신 것 같아요. 그래서 이제 AI 투자 흐름이 현재는 이제 에이전트 AI인데 그 다음 넥스트는 또 어디 흐름으로 갈지 투자자로서 좀 이야기 들어볼 수 있을까요?
The one thing that we haven't really spent a lot of time is using these systems to be able to work together. For instance, using ChatGPT to work with Anthropic, to work with Grok, creating a think tank because it takes care of a lot of the challenges with things like hallucinations. We've built think tanks. So when I went down through with my dog, right, I had stage 3 kidney disease. And I took the same AI and I put it on myself. And I said, what can I do? I was scared. My doctor said you could have a transplant or you could die, right? Or dialysis. So I put it on myself and it told me what to do with stem cells. I had the treatment 1 week after it was gone. I have no kidney disease. I want everybody in the world to have access to these things. It's wrong that we don't. We should be all over the world promoting how we can help each other and use these technologies to make humanity better, to live longer, better lives. Nobody wants to die. Let's help them live. But use the technologies for good. You know, my wife had cancer. My wife got cancer, triple negative breast cancer. I used the same protocol on my wife. She's 48 years old. I used the same protocol on her to help me come up with a path, a protocol for success. I'm pleased to say 3 weeks ago, my wife's in complete remission of cancer. And she's here with me. She came to California. So if I can do it, imagine the Korean companies that have the greatest opportunity. They're some of the smartest people in the world. They each need to go out there and try. Come. Silicon Valley's a port to the rest of the world. It's a port. Get up. Don't just think about it. Do it.
그러면 뭐 다 써보셨으니까 요즘은 챗 GPT랑 이제 그 클로드 그리고 제미나이 여러 개가 있는데 그 중에서 누가 최후의 승자가 될 거라고 보시는지 궁금합니다.
I mean, again, I'm looking at them as a team. So when they're in a team, that I'm looking for the impact of all of them together, which is exponentially better. So if you only look at one, at any time one's going to be better. But if you look at them all together, like 14 of them, like I do, you're taking the benefit of the best one at each time. They're working together as a team. So take a team approach. One other thing. We must build empathy and compassion in the models, like your grandmother that loves you. You know, you go home, she says, do you want some kimchi? She talks to you, she takes you for walks. You know, she's your friend. We need to build that into these models because people are not doing it yet. It must be done. We've started doing it.
AI 중에서 좀 과소평가된 섹터가 어디인지 좀 알려주면 감사할 것 같습니다. 네.
I think they're all undervalued. I mean, I think we're at the beginning of the frontier. This is like the inventions of the car, right? This is so different. Everything's undervalued because it's going to change everything. It doesn't matter if you're in health tech or legal tech. It matters, all of them. There's not that much of a focus on anything. Think about it. Education, doctors. Wouldn't it be great, just like I've done, to be able to find the best doctor in the world to solve your problem? And then have your AI to help guide you like I did to get rid of the disease. So I can't think of one place that it's not, whether it's transportation, whether logistics, whether it's space, whether it's supply chain, every place needs it. Why? Infobesity. There's too much data. The amount of data on the planet Earth today is 176 zettabytes. That means if I took DVDs or CDs, you know, those old things, and stacked them one top of another, they would go 128 times between the Earth and the Moon and growing at 69.6%. Data's the problem that we have.
그러면 이번에 좀 빅테크 기업들 속에서 이제 AI 스타트업들이 이렇게 막 생겨나고 있는데 쉽지 않은 게임이잖아요. 너무 빅테크는 너무 크고 스타트업들은 너무 작고. 그러면 살아남기 위해서는 어떤 전략을 취해야 되는지 좀 알려주시면 감사할 것 같습니다.
Well, you know, there's one thing, if you look through history, the people that have been able to win wars are a lot of times the people who use guerrilla tactics. The startups are very nimble and they can move a lot faster. Speed is the most important thing, right? Besides knowledge, speed.
그 스타트업들을 어디서 좀 찾아내시는지 궁금하거든요. 예, 그 어디 가야 볼 수 있을 거 아니에요? 어떻게?
Well, I use my AI. I mean, I use my 14 large language models, and it searches everywhere. And she gives me, every week, I get anywhere between 200 and 400 different companies, and she researches them for me, and she picks out who that I need. And I say picks out because she's like my grandmother, right? She picks the companies out. Then my team goes out and we reach out to them, and we talk to them. And we find those companies everywhere. Anywhere that's a country that's not hostile to the United States. So we look for those people that, I just came back from Africa, from Nigeria. I was in Africa, in Lagos, Nigeria, and I spoke in front of 5,000 people about AI. So we're going to places that everybody needs to go.
아까 아프리카도 간다고 하셨던 것 같아요. 그럼 아프리카를 투자하기 때문에 아프리카로 직접 비행기 타고 넘어가는 거예요?
I mean, I have a lot of connections now. So one of the wealthiest guy in Africa, his brother's my friend, Sayu. And so I have a lot of contacts. So I'm happy to go there to talk to them. Many times my AI talks to them for me. They generally know who I am because they've seen me. I have investments in Kenya, Ghana, Zambia, Nigeria, South Africa. So they know me. And I spend time with them. I talk to them. I put them on. I've done 1,700 podcasts. I'm not like you. I'm just a small country boy, but I do a lot of podcasts.
혹시 한국에도 좀 투자를 하거나 투자 때문에 한국에 방문하신 적도 있는지 좀 궁금하거든요.
Yes, I mean, I was just over with an incredible time with Plug and Play. And I have Korean startups inside of GSD now. The thing is, like I said, they're very conservative, very shy. And our thing is to bring them out like a Ferrari in the garage. Get the Ferrari out of the garage. Not just a neighborhood, but we want to win Formula One. We want to win the race. What do we need? A great team, a great car, the brakes, the transmission, the engine, the tires. And by the way, if somebody's won the race a couple times, it's pretty nice because they can help you with sponsors and they can go down through and tell you what kind of challenges are on the track.
그 소극적이다라는 단어가 저도 참 공감하는 단어 중에 하나인데 또 아까 심리를 또 많이 보신다 했잖아요. 그 왜 이제 한국의 스타트업 창업자들이 왜 소극적이라 생각하는지 좀 이유를 좀 생각해 보신 적 있었는지 궁금하거든요.
I'd say shy, right? On one side, they're not out there like Americans marketing things. Hey, this is great. This is amazing. Take a look at it. They're like, oh, I have something interesting. You might want to look. They're not like putting the magic, the enchantment. The enchantment's what wins. 90% of building a unicorn is the storytelling. It's not the product. We need to take the Korean companies, what I do inside of GSD, we put them in and we work with them to bring magic, enchantment, excitement, so that when people look at it, they feel it inside their bones.
그러면 좀 그 국가별로 좀 다를 것 같은데 가장 좀 되게 적극적으로 좀 이렇게 표현을 잘하고 설득을 잘하는 좀 그런 그 어떤 나라 사람들이 좀 그런 걸 잘하는지 좀 궁금하거든요.
Well, the one thing, even in Silicon Valley, so I have a lot of Silicon Valley companies from places like Stanford University that are here. In fact, over half my cohort this time are from Silicon Valley. The situation is most of them have degrees in engineering or technical degrees, about 70%. They're not marketeers. And even if they were marketeers, they haven't done it for a long time. It's like going to a cardiologist that hasn't really done many surgeries, right? You're not going to go into somebody that hasn't done it. So the situation with Americans, the challenge that we have here is that you get so busy building your company, you don't have time to do what I do. I'm an investor, but I don't want to lose. I want 10 out of 10 to win. I don't want to have 9 out of 10 lose. You can pivot to success if you have good people with an open mind. They must have an open mind.